and then setting yourself up to win now and in the future. I always talk about on every deal, every transaction, there's a bucket of money. And what a bucket of money means is if you're buying a fix and flip or even a rental, there's a bucket of money that's needed to buy that property. There's for the purchase, for the rehab, for closing costs, for interest. There's a whole thing that's going to cost you. There's this whole bucket that's going to cost you to do that. Now, part of that bucket of money comes from lenders. They're going to help fill part of that. They're going to use the leverage, and they're going to hopefully fill the majority of that.
All right.
But there's another bucket of money that's going to have to come from you, because the lender's going to require some down payment. They're going to require some interest costs and all that stuff. So when you're setting these things up and when you're looking at it, how do you make sure, number one, the lenders who are lending you money will give you more at a better price? And number two, that you have the money, because there's so many people who are starting out and they're like, well, I don't have the money. I don't have the 10% down. I don't have the interest. But so how do you set that up? How do you set up your bucket of money to be able to qualify for these loans and qualify for multiple loans? So that's the other thing is like what represents your bucket of money and how do you set that up to make sure you can play in the game?
Yeah.
Create that wealth.
And do you need to have like some money ahead of time, or are there other ways to fill up that bucket? Like, let's say I didn't have anything. Is that not viable?
It just depends on how creative, how you feel about what you're doing, because there are a good number of people who use in their bucket of money, they may not have anything, but what we tell people that see their lines of credit, or you could use your credit cards for down payments and stuff. There's ways to actually use your credit cards for that. But the most important thing to do starting out is find other people's money, which means, I say family and friends, but that's, most people are like a little bit scared, but there's a lot of people out there who are looking for better returns. And can you borrow $10,000 from someone that you meet at a real estate group or from somewhere else and give them 10%? You could fill your bucket of money with some other people's money who's also just looking for a return. As long as you use that money correctly to make money so you can pay them back. But you can fill your whole bucket with someone else's money and not have anything. That's the beautiful thing about real estate. You could have the banks over here giving you 80 or 90%, and you could have someone on your street, someone someone who has $10, $20, $30,000. They don't need $100,000, but guess what? There's so many people out there right now looking for better returns that they're willing to talk to you. And if you paid someone 10%, that's a lot cheaper than you're going to get on a credit card or even a fix and flip or any of those loans. They get a better return and you get what you need, which is money on your side in your bucket so you can get the leverage. So you don't know any, but the one thing you do need is the confidence and the system
That's what I was
to actually
say.
ask.
I was going to the next question. And so first I'm hearing that it's like, it's a win-win because they get a better return because that's 10% better than they're going to get the average of the stock market or something like that.
Yeah. Or even like going to a bank, they're getting like 5% now.
Yeah.
So it's like every penny counts.
So you're definitely getting them a better return, but you're also getting money right away. And so it's the confidence. And any tips on that, on like how to approach people like that? When I think about that, I'm like, I have a wealthy friend, like how do you, what's the vibe there? How can you approach somebody that you show them that it is a win-win and you have confidence in your abilities?
I think it's just like talking to a lender too. Like you have to know your project and what you're doing and your business plan and have faith in it. Because if you have faith that you're going to find good properties, you're going to fix them and you're going to sell them and make money in the rental. So it's getting the confidence on that side. I mean, in 2008, when everything crashed, I was using banks and I had to go out and find private money. I was advertising. I was doing everything I could to find it, talking to people in Starbucks, anything I could. I had no money. And, since then we've done hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, all with other people's money. We're not even asking to do something that big. But if you're going to go out and ask someone for money, make sure you understand when you sit down and talk to them, like show them a good deal. Because if you see it's a good deal, you'll project that it's a good deal. More than likely they'll want to get in. Once you get one person in, it's easy to get the second, third, fourth. If anybody ever wants to figure out or find out, we'd be glad to go through. We have a little system we put together a while ago, and just like how to talk to people, how to find them, how to talk to them, and how to convince them or show them it's a great opportunity to put money in real estate with you as a person. Our whole thing is making the borrower as strong as possible, setting up the company right, filling their buckets up so that when they go to different lenders or do more projects, or they find a great deal, they could jump at it.
Yeah.
They could be ahead of people who are scrambling, who might find a deal, and they scramble for 2 weeks to find money. And guess what? The deal's gone because they weren't able to close. Setting this up correctly up front, getting this pieces together, you'll do more in the long run.
Yeah. So it sounds like doing that stuff that we were talking about earlier, like it's similar to the tax ID and things like that, like doing things that might not be as fun on the front end. I don't know, business plan could be fun for some people because you're figuring out what you want, but knowing the numbers too, knowing that you can confidently tell someone like, I'm really expecting this rate of return. Like I'm expecting to be able to give you 10%. It's a pretty, this is a pretty solid deal. Like this is a smart move on your part, and believe it. I think people can sense it, right? They know, they know if you believe it too. If you're like worried about it and you're like, I actually don't know if this is going to work out, nobody's going to give you their money.
It is a mental game, because I just had a guy call me this week from Florida, I believe it was near Tampa, and he was talking about how he needed some money, he wanted me to lend, and I was like, it just doesn't work, but why don't you ask your family? And he's like, I could never ask my family because they don't trust me. I was like, okay, so who knows why, but it's also like they're not going to if you don't have confidence. You need confidence, and confidence comes with a good project. This all comes down to finding good projects so you can make money. Leverage helps you get it there. What we do, finding the leverage, helping you set up your buckets of money, all that kind of stuff, helps you obtain the properties you find that are good deals. So like it goes hand in hand. You have to find good deals, but you have to have good money. And we want to make sure you have the good money set up, so when the deals come along, you're snapping them and making money and moving.